Hello to you, Mark Hall here with your weekly fine wine investment market update. Today, Friday the 10th of May, 2013. So this week the results for April are in, and let's start with the indices, which look a bit gloomy, I'm afraid. The LiveX Fine Wine 50 Index, which tracks the progress of the first growths only, was down in April by 1.3%. The Fine Wine 100 Index, which represents the movement of the 100 most sought after wines in the secondary market, also finished the month down by 1.3%. The LiveX Bordeaux 500 Index, which represents the price movement of the leading 500 wines, was down in April by 0.5%. So not so good, but by no means a disaster. These falls follow a full quarter of rises across all of the indices. I think the reason for this is probably because the trade in the market, as mentioned in my report last week, has been muted while most of the trade's attention has been focusing on the En Primeur campaign. So, what wines were being bought? Well, Bordeaux, of course, took the lion's share of the trade with 85%, but interestingly, Italy took 1.9% of trade, which is a 6-month high for the country. So, a tip would be to keep your eye on the top Italian wines, as demand for them seems to be on the up. Now, the top 5 movers in April were all from Chateau Angelus, obviously from different vintages. The 1994 vintage, for example, was up 18.1%. The 1992 was up 17%. The 2002 vintage was up 15.3%. The 2001 vintage, well, that was up 12.6%. And the 1996 Angelus was up 12.4%. Now, this is particularly gratifying for us, as those who have been following our reports will know that we have been buying very heavily into Angelus over the last 6 months or so, and this property is making extremely good returns for our clients currently. Now, of course, April was all about the 2012 vintage, which was released onto the market with very mixed opinion indeed. The 2012s, well, they took 16% of the trade by value, and buying was very much helped by the release of 3 first growths: the Lafite Rothschild, the Mouton Rothschild, and the Chateau Margaux. Now, the Mouton in particular was priced attractively, and as a company we took advantage of this by buying the very first cases released onto the LiveX. We were also impressed by the Haut-Brion and have taken advantage of several cases from this property also. In general though, the 2012 vintage, well, it's just not cheap enough. The majority of the big releases are so far less than 15% cheaper than the current prices of the 2011 vintages, which hardly make them irresistible. Added to this, the 2011s have actually fallen in price with their release last year, so buyers are wary. The 2012s, well, admittedly, they are more attractively priced, but are they low enough to tempt buyers on a large scale? Well, we don't think so, and as a result, we're selecting our En Primeur purchases with extreme care indeed. There are, however, many wines in the market doing well. For example, we bought into the Costa Aston Lovell 2008 a couple of months ago, and that is already up by 14%. So, if you'd like to open a trading account with us and buy and sell wines from LiveX at industry prices, well, simply visit astonlovell.com and register for an account. Alternatively, you can call us on 0208 858 9990 and we'll be happy to help you. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you next Friday.